folks, I am going over to the tower blind. I gotta put some Hornet poison inside of it. The Hornets have taken over. Going to try to hunt it tomorrow morning if I can. Right now there's a few hundred red wasps or red hornets. They're really big, probably 2 inches long. They have taken shelter in that thing. I left the door open on it, or the window, and the guys that came in and stole all my cameras, they got up inside of it too. And they tore the zipper up the door, so now the door don't shut. This is really scary coming through here. Here, I'll turn the camera around. I should have done that before. I just didn't think about it, sorry. Well, come on. There it goes. Ugh. Got a lot of deer coming through over here. Maybe Kim would be able to get her a deer. That's what we set this spot up for, her and Rosie. Let me see if I can adjust the camera up that way. I guess that's working. All right. I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna spray some of this and try to knock some off the ceiling, and then I gotta put this up there, my fogger. We've had a problem with hornets getting into this one, and we had another tower blind. We haven't put it back up yet, but it's the same situation with both of them. This one here is 16 foot to the platform that I'm almost up to. This platform right here, the one that you stand on, is 16 feet. Oh, there's a praying mantis up here too. Let's see how bad. Where are the hornets? Holy moly. Good grief. Oh my gosh. There are so many, you guys. I mean, a lot of them. Hey, buddy. Okay, let me get this fogger. Leave the cap right there. I'm gonna spray first, I guess, with this one. Jeez, I didn't know they were that bad. Oh my gosh. Holy moly. There are so many. There are hundreds and hundreds. My gosh, look at all of them. I don't know if I should spray first or not. I don't want them to come out and start getting me before I can get down. So just leave that right there. And I'll do the fogger first, I think. See if I can get my hand in here without these things. I don't know why there's so many of them. I got it all over my hand. There are more in there than what there was a couple of days ago. There are so many. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to get this poison off of my hand. Let me go see how many of them are trying to get out. And there's one just got out. It's pouring out from the window. Looks like it's coming out of the top too. There's 4 vents on the roof. There's one hornet. He got out. How did he get out? There's some little openings at the windows. A couple of the windows aren't zipped up tight. But I can't zip them up tight without going inside of it, and I'm not going inside there. That is far too many hornets. And they're big. They're about 2 inches long. They're red. The front end of them is black, and then all the rest of it's red, like their head and that part of their body. It's the same ones you see on the river. They get them giant, round, basketball-like hornet nests up in the trees. It's those same ones. Yeah, I have no idea why those big hornets or wasps, whatever they are, I don't know why they're drawn to that blind. The blind's right over there, that tower blind. One of them is trying to get into the closed windows. There's a few that did escape. But there's so many. There's a steel frame inside that thing. And overhead, the uprights, they all come and they kind of converge in the center of it. It's a very stout blind. It came from Bass Pro. But it has, up top where the steel is, it forms like a big letter H across the ceiling of it. And it's 3/4 inch steel tubing. And the hornets are balled up all down it, about 4 or 5 foot across. And it's on all 4 of those tubes. There's so many in there. There's a few that are trying to get in. There's quite a few of them. Holy cow, there's a lot of them. Unless they ran out from the fumes of that fogger. But anyhow, we've been going wide open, and I have been hunting. I have not been hunting every day like I would like to, but I have been hunting. I did get a turkey, and I shot at one and I missed him, and I had it all on film, of course, but the ground blind I was sitting in, I'll tell you a little story about that ground blind. I bought it from Rural King in Dothan, Alabama. It's like a farmer's superstore type place, really nice place. And they had a clearance on ground blinds. In this particular ground blind, it was a big and tall or something on those lines. And it's giant. A 6.5-foot man could stand up inside of it easily without his head hitting it. It's got a really high ceiling on it. But when you sit in a chair, a normal height person, the windows in it are so high, when you're aiming out the window with a firearm, any type of long gun, a crossbow or anything, when you're aiming out the window, your barrel is literally aiming at the side under the window. And I had these turkeys come in, and they come through all the time, and I just don't shoot at them normally. And there were two of the turkeys were black, and one of them was a copper color. Beautiful, but he was so big. That was the largest wild turkey that I have ever laid eyes on, personally. He had to have been 20, 23, 24 pounds. He was enormous. And beautiful. He had a real long beard. His beard was dragging the ground. All three of them were gobblers. All three had beards on them. One of the black ones had two beards. Both of them were touching the ground, just barely, but they were touching the ground. When it comes to wild turkey, like when you harvest one, you have got to register him with the state of Florida. They have a turkey registry or harvest log. You're allowed one turkey in fall and one in spring, if I understand it correctly. I'm not a turkey hunter, so I don't fully understand a lot of it. But when you're filling out your harvest log to register the turkey that you get, it asks you, is it an adult or a juvenile? And for those that don't know, and I was one of them, this is something I learned when I harvested that turkey. That was the very first time that I've turkey hunted and had to put a turkey in well, I wasn't turkey hunting, but I harvested a turkey. And so I had to put it in the harvest log, which you just started that last year. And it tells you in there, it asks, is it a juvenile or an adult? And you have to select one of the two. And there's a note to tell you the difference, and that's what I didn't know. A juvenile turkey, the beard on him will be less than 5 inches in length. An adult turkey, it'll be longer, 5 inches or longer. And the turkey I got, the one I did harvest, the beard was about 6 inches, 6.25 inches long, so he was considered an adult turkey. A pretty big bird. But that big one I was shooting at, his beard was probably 10 or 12 inches long. I was trying to aim at him, and I could see through the scope, through the window where he was at, and I kind of leaned to the side, and my arrow was going to hit under the window, the blind, because of how high the windows are. So I had to sort of stand up and freehand, and I had to stand up. I was bent over in a goofy angle and trying to shoot through this little weird-shaped window. And I got it right on the turkey, squeezed the trigger. My arrow hit the blind, and I normally use fixed blade broadheads. I'm a big fan of them. But Sever sent me some broadheads to try out, and so I had them in, and they're mechanical broadheads, so when it hit the blind, it opened the blades on it. And when they opened up, I don't know where that arrow went. I don't have a clue. It's gone. but it was loud. The turkeys ran, and then about 50 yards down the hill, they started picking around, eating bugs and stuff again. I did not hit them. Well, I come back a couple days later. I'm hunting over there, and 8 or 9 turkeys come by, and there was one good size gobbler in it. There were several gobblers, but one big one. And when I shot at the one and it hit the blind, I took out my pocket knife and I cut the bottom of the window out about 3 inches. I cut a big section out to where I can sit and aim and not hit it. So anyway, the window's cut out. I can sit, I can shoot from a sitting position, and these turkeys come in from my left, and they get out there. I get a shot on one at about 30 yards. Shoot, the arrow hits him perfect. I have not found that arrow yet either. Turkey ran about 8 or 10 yards and was down. And I may throw that clip in right here, maybe. But here's a picture of me and Rosie. Rosie was with me as I was holding the bird up, just showing how big he was, because I'm not a turkey hunter, and that was personally my biggest turkey that I've harvested, and just a beautiful animal. We have him in the freezer. A lot of people only take the breast out of them. A lot of people I've talked to that are turkey hunters, they only eat the breast. We don't. We use everything. The gizzard, the heart, the liver, the neck, we use everything on it. And what we bury in the end, outside of the feathers, what we bury, you can hold in your hands. It's just a small amount. There's not a lot that we waste. But we got him in the freezer. That will be our Thanksgiving dinner. Well, anyhow, that the day after I harvested the turkey, this was just this past week, I went into that blind, and I'm sitting in there, afternoon hunt, and I thought I heard 3 really loud banging sounds on a tree. Now that blind is back that direction, which is west by southwest of where I'm at right now. The creek runs from the north all the way down to the west side. It cuts across sort of at an angle. So that blind is 100 yards south of the creek. You're facing the creek. You can't see it because it's down a hill, and it's planted pines and a lot of this stuff here, this blackjack oak and other things. So you can't really see the creek. You can see some of the treetops that are on the sides of the creek, but you can't see the creek. I heard that knocking, and so I got to listen and, wanted to make sure it wasn't a woodpecker. And then I heard a knock again. I hit record on the cameras. I got a camera to my left. I got a camera on my head. I get both of them recording. I hear the knock, which is in front of me, a little to the right. I'm facing straight north, so it's probably north by northeast of me. And then there is a cow mooing. No animal makes that sound but a cow. Very loud. And I could hear it. It sounded to be a wild guess, I would say 60 to 100 yards from me. It may have been further, I'm not sure. It's really hard to tell because sound travels through these trees. I'm hearing that in the same spot where this knocking was. The cow did that moo thing twice, and then I hear a couple of grunts, a pig grunt, and then a pig blowing out and squealing like something is just obliterating him, like tearing him apart. It was so loud, and that's when I got scared. It's getting late, it's almost dark, and I'm hearing a cow and now a pig, a big hog, squealing like it's being torn limb for limb. Well, then the cow sound, as I'm sitting in the blind, and it's in front of me to my right. That's where the cow sound happened, that's where the knocking was, and now the pig being torn apart is what it sounded like. Well, then I hear the cow again, and it's almost immediately right of me. And it moves again, really loud. And then it's directly right of me, mooing. Then it's right of me, but behind me, moving like it's traveling. I'm not hearing any footsteps. It's dry. Every step you take makes noise. I'm not hearing anything. I'm spooked. I get, I'm scared. I'm downright scared with all this weird stuff that's happening. I shut my camera off that's on the tripod, and I throw it in my bag. I'm getting all my stuff packed. I grab my quiver that's the part that I connect to my crossbow, and it holds my extra arrows. I put it back on and reinstall it, and I grab my cranking mechanism. That I take that stuff off to lighten up the crossbow. I lock it back on the crossbow. It's got a special spot, a certain spot that holds both the quiver and the crank handle. I get those in. I grab my mosquito mesh and I stuff it in my backpack. I'm gonna get my water bottle. I get all my stuff together. I pick up my backpack, fixing to put it in my arms. Then I'm gonna untie the 2 ropes on the door, open the door, get out and leave. And before I could get it on my back, there's a growl on the same side where I was hearing the cow, where I heard the pig squealing and raising cane. I hear a growl, and it's, I don't know how close it was. It was really hard to tell. It sounded animalistic. It did not sound like the growls that I have heard, what I believe to be Sasquatch. It did not sound like that. This sounded like an animal, a large animal, maybe a bear, I don't know. I never did see it. But it's dark. There's 5 minutes, 10 minutes left of actual legal shooting time. So the sun's back, the sky's still lit up, but it's dark under the trees. I turn my light on, and I got it on the brightest setting, and I'm scanning through the woods where I'm hearing the growl. I'm not seeing any eye shine. I'm not seeing anything. And I had to leave. I stayed in that blind 30 minutes. Last shooting time on that day was around 5:20, I guess, p.m. I stayed to right at 6 o'clock, and it was completely black. I walked. I did not ride the 4-wheeler. I walked from the house over there. I was an absolute nervous wreck getting out of that blind. I finally got out, and I had to walk south to the road. And then I follow the road across, and it connects to this road, and then I follow this road all the way back down here, and then I take a ride at the junction down here, and then I'm only 400 yards or so from the driveway to the house. It was the longest, scariest walk that I've had since we've been on this property. It was horrifying. But anyhow, I stayed out of there for a few days, and I want to explain. I know you guys that's been with us here, you know how much activity we've had on this property. It's been a lot of weird things. We've captured stuff on camera. We've captured weird audio stuff. Trail cameras have caught some really weird stuff. A lot of strange things have happened here. That blind, all right, this road, when it goes down here, I've got a trail that comes off this road. You turn down that trail, it takes you straight to that blind, and it knocks off probably 250 yards of walking distance. And I would normally walk down the road, I would cut through that trail and go to the blind. After the hunt, I'd follow the trail out and then back to the house. I would actually walk to here, and I would cut up through here and then to the house. Excuse me. But one day, last year, I was going down the trail. This was around 1 in the afternoon, midday. I was going to the blind to go hunting. I get about halfway between this road and where the ground blind is at, and I get growled at. Not an animal sounding growl. What I heard, I fully believe was a Sasquatch. Very loud, very guttural, very long and drawn out growl. Heard that, I stopped in my tracks, and I turned and I came back and I went home. A few days later, I decided to try it again, come out here, hunt again. Going for the afternoon hunt again. I walked down there, I cut across, going through down that trail, and roughly the same area where I was growled at a few days before this particular day. I'm probably, I would say 100 feet, maybe 150 feet from the area where I was growled at. I wasn't at the same spot, but I was generally close, within 100 or 150 feet, and I got growled at again. And I turned, I left, and that was it for me. I don't use that trail no more at all. I stay out of it. I hunted that blind a few dozen times after that. Several of us have hunted it, but we take the road. There's been no issues, no growling, no nothing. A week ago, I hear the cow, I hear a pig, tree banging sounds, growling. I'm sitting in the blind a couple days ago, day before yesterday, I think. It may have been yesterday. It was the day before yesterday. I go in there to hunt, and this is the morning hunt. I get there early in the morning, I'm sitting in the blind. About 8 o'clock, I had a little deer come in beside me and walked out in front of me, and it was not one that we're looking to harvest. This is one that comes through this blind and goes over there, and it's every day of the week. And so I set the crossbow back down, turned the safety back on, and the deer turns and looks at me, looks straight at me, ears locked on me. I'm not moving. I'm sitting near the back of the blind. The blind is dark inside. The deer can't see me, but she's spooked, and she's looking at me. She's 30 yards out in front of me and got her ears up facing me. She starts stomping the ground with her hoof. Now, when a deer, if you're out in the wild, a deer comes by, you don't move. If she don't know you're there, or they'll start stomping the ground trying to flush you. If it's a bird, a small rodent, that stomping that they do will cause the birds to move or the little rodent to move, and then they can see that it's a harmless animal, not a predator, and they go back to doing their thing. So the deer's stomping, and it's a doe, and I sat completely still. I squinted my eyes so she couldn't see my eyes blink if she was able to see me, because I thought she was looking at me. And then her head turns, and I'm facing her. She's looking directly at me, and her head turns to my right side, like she's watching something. And she turns and runs like down toward the creek, and she goes back to the left toward the west, and she's gone. 15 minutes later, something hits the blind and it rolls down. Now, I've got a couple pine trees that are growed up, and I do get the occasional little twig or something to fall on it. If birds land in the trees, things fall on the blind all the time. I didn't think nothing of it. Then another one hit, and it was sprinkling that day. Then something else hit. Then a bunch of something hit. Things are just pelting all over the blind. I mean, just hitting all over it. And it was something hard, because one particular part, whatever it was, when it hit the blind, it hit on the framework, the actual hard frame that supports the vinyl, that provides the shape of the blind. There's a hard frame under it. And it hit the hard frame and made a very audible cling when it bounced off of it. And that's what got my attention. It was stoned with force, whatever it was. It sounded like acorns, and that's what I originally thought was acorns. But when I got out 2 days after that, or 2 different days after that event, I was at the blind, and I searched around it. There's not one acorn anywhere. So I don't know what was being thrown, but it was a lot of stuff being thrown. And then I hear that day all this stuff was raining on the blind. It was coming from the same direction where that deer looked. It was coming from beside me, but behind me, off my right side, like off my right shoulder. and I hear what sounds to be bipedal footsteps. Takes off and it's walking fairly fast. It walks behind me and it's headed toward the west. It was off my east side, and it walked behind the blind, headed toward the west, and it sounded like it went 50 yards or so past the blind, and then it just stopped. Well, I've got probably 30 minutes or an hour left that I had planned on hunting. And when all that started, I real quietly started putting things in my backpack so I can get ready to go. Before I had everything together so that I could go, it was like somebody hit the mute button and everything went dead. There was no sound, no birds chirping, no bugs, no trees creaking. There was nothing. Like my hearing was completely gone. I couldn't hear anything at all. I could hear my own breathing. I could hear, my clothing as I was moving around. I could hear my skin touching my pants. I could hear those sounds. But outside of that tent, that blind, there was no sound. There was nothing. Like I was in a bubble of, like a vacuum. It was really strange. And I was in it. I actually sent a text message to our brother Don Moore, and I told him about, what was going on. And he had recommended me staying put. Don't get out of the blind yet because there's something there. And there was something there. There was definitely something there. I heard it walking. It was it was a really scary event. I don't like things like that. But I did eventually come out. I stayed in the blind after the footsteps stopped. I stayed in it another half hour, maybe 40 minutes, and I come out. And my trail, when you come out of the back of the blind, the trail to get to the blind goes to the west. And so I had to walk the same direction where the footsteps went. And it only goes about 30 yards, and then it catches the four-wheeler trail. I take a left and I follow it south until it ties into the back road, and then I come around here. But anyhow, there's been some strange things going on lately. At the house, weird stuff has been happening again. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Everything's changing. The environment's changing. The world's changing. It's just a lot of unknowns. I've got a battery chainsaw that was given to me for helping a friend out. They bought it for me, and I only had one battery. I needed another battery because we use that saw so much. And so I went to buy a battery. The batteries were $299 for a battery. No charger, nothing, just a battery. And it's a Ego, Ego, I think is the name of it. And they sell them at Lowe's. Well, the day we went to get a battery, and we were looking, we found that we could buy another saw, the same thing, and it comes with a battery and a charger for $219. Or we could buy just the battery for $300. And so I used my Lowe's credit card, and we got another saw. So I got 2 chainsaws, 2 batteries, 2 chargers. Come on today, I go into that room looking for the Hornet spray to spray in the blind. And both batteries, they're not connected to the saws. I've got them on the floor beside my saws, and they're together. And they got a light on them. When you check the battery percentage, you press a button, and it comes up a circle. And it's bars. There's 5 bars, and each one will light up telling you how much power. If you've got 3 bars, then you're almost at half power. And you know how much power by how many bars light up. When the battery's completely dead or it's faulty, it'll be red. And so anyway, they're green. They're always green unless something's bad with the battery. I go in that room 30 minutes before I grabbed the camera and I came out here. Both batteries are lit up you have to go up and push the button on the battery for that circle, that battery indicator, to light up. I opened the door to that room, both of them are lit up. One is green, one is red. And I'm looking at them, and it's just me and Kim there, and that door stays closed to that room. There's no animals in there. The red one goes out, and the green one goes out, like somebody just pressed them. As soon as I open the door, they press the button. Well, I picked the batteries up, they're warm. I hit the button, the one showing red, it showed it's almost 100% full, and it lit up green when I hit the button. But I got them on the charger now, but it's just electronics, weird stuff is going on again. But anyhow, before I get off here, I just wanted to throw something up short. You guys, I have not kept up with the weather, what's going on. We got another storm out there, this Sarah, I don't know how they're pronouncing it. And Francesca, our sister Francesca, reached out to me and said it's been a really significant rain event, and it's caused devastation down in the Yucatan area, South America. But it's coming toward the Gulf states. We don't know where it's going to impact exactly yet. It's Mother Nature. It could change wherever God wants this stuff to go is where it's going to go. And I'm just doing a call out to our brothers and sisters, our prayer warriors and our energy people and our healers, and all of you, please join me and with those prayers out, and I see if, this, whatever rain is coming, it's not going to impact anyone's lives in a negative way. We need the rain. We need it here. A lot of places need it, but there's a lot of places that don't need any rain. So please join me and let's pray that our Father will work on this storm so that it doesn't have the ability to harm anyone, to disrupt anyone else's lives. There's been too much of that already this year, and we certainly don't need no more. I'd greatly appreciate it if you guys would do that, and I will be right there with you in it. There's a helicopter going over again. We've been having a lot of helicopters lately. I don't know if they're, I don't know why they're riding around unless they're looking for fires or so. I have no idea. There's a lot of them. We had one come by yesterday or day before yesterday, and it was low. It was 300 or 400 feet above the treetops, and it shook the house. It was incredibly loud. The glass in the cabinets was vibrating in the house where that thing was coming over. You could feel it in the floor. It had just gotten dead quiet out here just now. I don't know if you guys, I don't know how much you're going to hear with the wireless mic. I feel like a sitting duck right now. That was back there. It may be deer coming in, but I don't know why it's, yeah, it's 4 o'clock, 10 after 4 p.m. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I don't want to disrupt the deer as they're coming in. They come in and they get out in this road and they eat that stuff that we planted that's growing, and I don't want to mess them up. I don't know if that's a deer or not. That was loud that time. There's limbs breaking. Guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Let me grab that camera. I'll see you guys soon. I love you. Y'all have an amazing evening. Be safe no matter what you do. And be kind, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.